Now, another thing that I think comes between or leads to the break in marriage is lack of communication. Um, Lack of communication. And when I speak about communication, I'm not speaking about communication in a trivial way. Because people talk about communication like, oh, yeah, just talking. That's not what I'm saying. You can talk and not communicate. You can have a conversation with someone and not see anything. And some of us know people like that will have a long conversation, but they've said nothing. At the end, you walk away like, what was that all about? Like there was nothing actually said. You had the whole talk, but you said nothing. If you find yourself having to hide things from your husband or wife, cracks have already started. If you find yourself having not to tell them certain things, cracks have already begun. Because what happens there is this: communication is being broken, right? You're slowly creating a gap between yourselves. Because now the wife has to deal with it herself, the husband has to deal with it himself, right? So now you're having two people going their own separate ways to deal with their own issues, and they're not bringing it together to put their heads together. So now you're having independence in a place that's supposed to be cooperative. How do you say that word? Cooperative. So where there's supposed to be unity, now you're having independence. Individualistic mindsets in a place that's supposed to be a more of communal mind, right? And so I think that's one of the major things that folks kind of miss. So I was about to say that communication. Yes, madam. And I think that's one of the things that sometimes people miss in understanding how to notice the cracks, or how to see, that dysfunction is happening in their midst, right? They don't look at the little things. Sometimes they look at the massive things. If you ask someone about, say, hey, how do you, or what are the signs, right? Many times people will jump to money. They'll talk about money, right? Oh, what's your financial state? Because I've heard people say, in marriages, money is the main result for divorce. My question is, what marriage is? Christian? If it is Christian and money was the main reason for their divorce, have they met Jesus? Why? Because many times, right, money is an expression of a deeper issue. Or money separating is an expression of a deeper issue. Many times the issue is not money, but people think it's money. Many times the issue is expectation and communication. People have the wrong expectation of each other, and they communicate wrongly. Then somebody's expecting this to happen with the money, whatever, right? And then they don't communicate, then money becomes an issue. There are people that are completely poor that have been together for years, that love Jesus together, and they don't have a dime to their name. Why? Because money in itself doesn't have the ability to break you up. You too have the ability to break you up. Money in itself it doesn't have to. It could be your children, whatever you make important enough, right? And then you miscommunicate with how important this thing is to you, whatever, right? That is the beginning of your downfall. So you find out that people, they will have kids, and kids come between the husband and wife. How is that? Because the wife believes that now her mission in life is to take care of the kids. Or the man believes now that his mission in life, no, it's not. That is not your mission in life. Your mission in life is to take care of each other to the glory of God. And then together you take care of the kids. But you were made for each other, not the kids. The man was not made for the kids. The woman was not made for the kids. You were made for each other. Then together you take care of the kids. A child should not come between a husband and a wife. Your child should not, because it's fascinating, because as a young man I noticed this, right? Little kids know the relationships they can come between, and they will take advantage of it. They will take 100%. If a little kid knows, if I go to daddy will give me this thing when mommy doesn't want to, she will always go to daddy, right? Then daddy starts feeling like, oh, look at it, haha, she comes to me. Not realize that you're demeaning your wife and the authority of your wife in the midst of your child. And now your wife starts feeling one way about it, and then you start defending your own thing because you feel like, oh, don't you want me to take care of what are you talking about? Communicate with your wife, and you guys come up with a system to train your child. Agree on when she gets something and when she doesn't get it, or when he gets something and when he doesn't get it. But if the child realizes that it can go to one of you that will contradict the other one, they will always take advantage. Children should not come between a husband and wife. Nothing should come between a husband and wife. Isn't this what Jesus said, right? Now, he who God has put together, right? Let no man put asunder. It's so funny how when we say that, we don't think about children. We don't think about, we're thinking about, we're not thinking anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. Because guess what? That is the initial thing. We talked about it last week, right? Was it last week or the week before? Well, we said this. The relationship between Christ and the church is the relationship between a husband and wife. It's not the relationship between the father and his child. It's the relationship between husband and wife is the relationship between Christ and the church. So that's how important it is that a husband and wife are unified in thought and in vision. Number one, the foundation should be Christ. Number two, they should not neglect growing spiritually in the word, in prayer. Number three, communication, and not allowing anything or anybody to come between you, because that is how that. First of all, I don't believe it's the beginning of cracks. I believe once that starts happening, cracks have already begun, because it just becomes bigger and bigger. Well, Russell.